25. It was interesting early on. You thought Clemson was okay. Look, they're going to surprise LSU, kind of punch them in the mouth early on and shock them. But the LSU, man, the thing you cannot take away from that team this year is they stepped up in all their big games. And when you win, what, 7 of their games were against ranked teams, top 10 ranked teams, you're talking about a team that did not shy away from competition, did not fail in any of the tests all year long, and all the top teams that they faced, they beat. And, I mean, you can't top that. That doesn't get any better than that whatsoever. And that's why, I mean, the kid threw 60 touchdowns. I love the video at the end where they've got him smoking the cigar, enjoying a little victory cigar. You know, all of that is it's a really great story. Ogeron, there are moments in sports when things just fall into place and there's no rhyme or reason to it, but it just feels good. I'm not a Broncos fan, but it was cool to see John Elway win back-to-back Super Bowls and walk out into the sunset, right? That's cool. It's cool to see LeBron go back to Cleveland and win that championship that they so desperately wanted that they didn't get in his first go-around for 7 years, right? And to me, that's the part that stands out. And this is one of those moments. Ogeron, a guy from that state, a guy that dreamed of coaching LSU, a guy that bleeds that state, you know, all of these things. And obviously everything came together. And this kid carried himself in a perfect fashion. He played an amazing game again last night. I mean, the touchdown he threw right before he took that brutal hit, and you know the wind was knocked out. Hell, some people even thought maybe he cracked a rib or something. That throw there, that tells you all you need to know about his toughness, his focus, all of that. He locked up. I mean, he pretty much had the first overall pick pretty much locked up. And it's an end to a terrific story and a fan base that deserves it, a school that's earned it, players that certainly deserve it, and a coach that was just like the perfect fit. And that's the one thing that kind of stands out to me, that when I'm watching that, you feel good for the people involved because they've gone through the ringer and they made it and they get what they deserve, which is that national championship. It's a cool moment, man. Congratulations to the people in Louisiana, the LSU fan base, the LSU team, the coaches, just absolutely awesome. It was fun to see, man. It's something to envy. It's something to admire. I mean, there's so many different ways to look at it wherever you're at. You know, whatever school is your favorite school, you kind of want to achieve stuff like that because it's not just win, it's a win with synergy too on top of all of that, which is really, really cool. So last night, hell of a win for LSU, and no shame for Clemson, man. Clemson has been on one of the great runs in college football. Dabo Swinney is probably one of the most likable guys that there is in college football. It just a lot of fun to watch what they've been able to do, what they've been able to accomplish, and what that staff has been able to build culture-wise. Because we throw that word around so loosely, and it's really hard to achieve it. And then the few places that do, it stands out. And obviously Clemson is one of those places where it stands out. And the culture that Dabo Swinney's built obviously resonates and kids want to be a part of, and opponents or fans respect it. You know, it's one of those things. And so when we look at their achievements, it's really one of the phenomenal runs in college football. Trevor Lawrence, look, it wasn't his night. There are nights where, everybody's a tough guy, right? And it's like watching Conor McGregor. He talks a lot, and then, one day we all run into somebody that's tougher, somebody bigger, somebody stronger, somebody better, and Habib was that guy. You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those deals. Clemson was the king of the hill. and they were the creme de la creme, and they still are one of the best. But last night, LSU proved they're the king of the hill this year, and they got what they deserve, man. It was great. It was really a hell of a story. Now, with all of that said, right, I couldn't stop thinking of this because obviously being 53 years old, following the NFL all my life, and especially following what's gone on with the Bengals for I don't know how long now under Mike Brown, that's the one thing that I thought of for that kid. Like, all right, kid, you had a great run with LSU. You won your championship. Now you're going somewhere where you're not going to win ever again, pretty much, because you got an organization led by a man that has never been dedicated to completely winning in Mike Brown. So you will not be assisted. Like at LSU, you had the talent. You had the offensive line. You had the running backs. You had the receivers. You had the tight end. You had the defense. You had the coaching staff. You had the facilities. You got everything is provided for you in order to succeed. The platform is there. You can never say that with the Bengals. That's the one thing that I kind of feel sorry for him, because if he is that guy, the guy we see now translates to the NFL, and he can become a franchise quarterback, he's going to need help, man. And that's not the organization that you go to for that. And that's the only thing that, to me, was kind of bittersweet about last night. You admired everything that LSU's done this year. You admire the crap out of Joe Burrow. I mean, the way he carries himself, that Heisman speech, you know you want your daughter to marry the guy. I mean, that's how much you admire the kid, the way he carried himself. And I'm sure NFL teams also are impressed with his leadership and the way he carries himself. I just would like to see him get a chance to actually win something, and I don't ever see it happening with that team, with that owner. It's too hard to overcome bad ownership. It's really rare to have bad ownership and then have a good franchise. And I don't care what sport we're talking about. Your owner's got to be committed. Your owner's got to be the one that wants to win just as badly as those players that line up and prepare every single week for you. And that dude is more about the bottom line, about his money, more than anything else. And so that's the only thing that I thought of that I feel bad for Joe. This is a great moment for him. On the pros, just order a lifetime supply of Maalox, because you're just going to need it, man. You know, Kaopectate, Pepto-Bismol, whatever it is, you're going to have an upset stomach in that place. That's for sure. That's the sad part of it. I mean, listen, I've talked about this before. You can't boot him out because he's not Marge Schott or he's not Donald Sterling. You got to go to those extremes in order to get booted out. But that man's a terrible owner. He has no business being an owner in the NFL. Because when you walk in there, the people that are taking that job, it's because there's only 32 of them. But deep down inside, everybody that walks in that building knows they don't have everything they need compared to other teams. And that's got to be tough for you, man. It's got to be tough as a professional to somebody's asking you for 100% commitment, yet you're not getting it from the person that owns the football team. Think about that. Coaches coaches work so hard. It's crazy, man. I've covered this business for 30 years, and those guys have no lives. They barely see their families. I mean, during the regular season, they probably don't even recognize their families. That's how bad it is. And you ask for that kind of commitment, you expect everybody to have that kind of commitment. You know what I mean? And listen, we have people that are incompetent all across the NFL. There are plenty of owners that they don't know what they're doing, but it's not from a lack of trying. They're trying to win. I mean, Jerry Jones is trying to win. He provides everything, but he also meddles. And he also creates an environment for whoever the head coach is that really you may not get the respect you deserve in that locker room, because you got the owner doing his own press conference after the game and, undercutting everybody. And that's a different, but he's trying. That's a difference. There's meddling and then there's just not trying to win. And that's what Joe Burrow walks into next, which is the Bengals. And you would, I know people are talking about, well, would anybody trade up? Lots of people would love to trade up. But at this point, how are the Bengals going to trade down? I mean, it's crazy. That would be the ultimate, not trying to win deal right there, tanking. Okay, no, there's Joe Burrow. We'll pass up. We'll trade down from that. Unless you are afraid of the one-hit wonder, the one-year wonder, which is something that a lot of people, obviously, there aren't a lot of them. Outside of Jason Pierre-Paul, you don't really come up with a lot of guys that had the 1 year and then they continue to blow up in the NFL. Usually they implode like your boy Trubisky, Bill. 1-year wonders usually don't work out. So that's the only other thing that you can say about Joe Burrow outside of that is the 1-year wonder thing. Everything else he's proven to you on the field, pretty much, or off the field too, the way he carries himself in the locker rooms, the way they respond to him.
You know what also might make it a little different? He's done the Heisman stuff. He's done all the social media, all the meetings, the shows. It's not your standard 1 year. You know what I mean?
Well, because
extreme. He's gone through a lot.
Yeah, he's got, but you can almost say that about Baker Mayfield. 1 year, and he goes to it, and
yeah, but he had a different,
and Kyler Murray, same thing, Heisman too.
He had a
1
different
year
character. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I get that, but they're all 1 year wonders. That's the point. It's not about the character; it's about the 1 year wonder. You know what I mean? So, but now Burrow took it to another extreme because he won the national title. Okay, so I get it.
Rewrote the record books.
Yeah, I know. I mean, 60 touchdowns. I mean, that's it's impressive. It really is.
What's his completion percentage? Like around 80?
Yeah. It's a ridiculous number. It's a ridiculous number.
You're not supposed to even on a video game. You're not supposed to do 80%. Okay.
Yeah, that's that to me. That's Aaron. I've said this for several years. Like watching Aaron Rodgers is like watching a freaking video game. The way he throws. I mean, that's video-ish, no doubt. But, man, what that kid did this year, Joe Burrow had the year of all years, man. That is just absolutely impressive. Got to tell you. 786-322-1105 is the accidentlawfirm.com text line. It's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, you can also reach out to me on Twitter at Big O Show. Many ways to reach out to us here on the program, and also remember to follow us, follow the show on the podcast every day on YouTube at Big O Radio Show, and then of course on Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, and SoundCloud. Big O Radio Show is the other way to get in and reach out to us on the program. We're out here at the Trade Winds Resort site or headquarters of the East-West Shrine game. We just finished in the morning practices, getting ready for the afternoon practice. Let me see what you guys got on the chat board here. George says, Joe Burrow, pull a John Elway and tell the Bengals you'll never sign with them. It's in your best interest. That probably is. Here's the only problem with Joe Burrow doing this to Mike Brown. Let me explain something to you. John Elway did it to the Colts. Eli Manning did it to San Diego. Okay, it was San Diego then. Here's the difference. Remember, Mike Brown doesn't care about winning. It's not his priority. So to him, principle will be more important to him. Mike Brown's the kind of guy that if you tell him, I'm not playing for you, Mike Brown will do it. He won't trade you. He'll go, okay, great, sit there. And whenever you're ready to sign, we're ready to talk. And you want to sit out a year? He'll do it. He'll do it. This is a guy that leaves money under the cap. It's a guy that doesn't have enough scouts. I mean, he's that, wired wrong, okay, that he would do something like that. He would actually tell Joe, go ahead, hold out. You want to play for us? You're not going to play for anybody else. Colts moved John Elway. San Diego found the Eli Manning trade, obviously. San Diego made out like a bandit in that trade. If I remember correctly, they got, I think in that trade, didn't they get the quarterback? They might have gotten LaDainian Tomlinson and the kicker, I think, that was with them. I think they got several picks in that trade, and I think one of them turned out to be LT, and the other one turned out to be a kicker for like 10 years or so. I think they hit on all 3 picks besides the quarterback. Now, obviously, for the Giants, it ended up in 2 titles because Eli won 2 titles, and Phillip Rivers never won anything, so it worked out for both parties in a way. But, man, Mike Brown would be the guy that would tell Joe Burrow, no, I'm not trading you, man. That's the scary part. So, yeah, he should pull that move, but the problem is that's the wrong owner. That's the owner that move will backfire because he doesn't care enough about winning. Drubo says, Burrow didn't do the crying thing like Herbert. Respect. Oh, how much will our team change with a new coordinator? I love J.K. Dobbins. And, hey, Bill, look alive. Is that what? You're looking dead there on the video or something, Bill? What happened?
I guess I walked by.
Oh, okay. All right. You didn't get enough sleep or something? What's wrong? You looking dead tired to people or something?
I have no idea.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I post-game, little interview stuff, blah, little SVP.
Yep.
It was what, 1 o'clock, 1 something?
George says, I think Merriman and Tom. Yeah, I think actually they also got Sean Merriman in that deal. I think you're right. I think they got lights out. They got LT along with the quarterback and maybe even the kicker. Maybe it might have been all 4. You're right. Look it up. Look up the Eli Manning for Phillip Rivers trade and the particulars on it. It was a monster trade for San Diego. They did a great job with that trade. And, yeah, a lot of people would probably trade a lot for Joe Burrow. The only problem is not with that owner. I'm telling you, he would do something like that. That just rubs me like that's the guy that would do that. 786-322-1105 on the accidentlawfirm.com text line. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. Panthers, by the way, are off till Thursday. They will host the Kings at the BB&T Center. The Heat are off till tomorrow night. They host the Spurs at the AAA. Baseball-wise, I have not seen anything. Have they gone after Cora yet? I haven't seen anything yet. Right, Bill? Nothing new on the baseball front with Cora?
No,
I haven't seen
nothing's
anything.
broke yet. No.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I want to say we were over at the practice. It was somewhere 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right before we left.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we're waiting for Cora now, who will probably get suspended. I have no problem with booting these kind of guys out of a sport, period, when you're cheating like that. You know what I mean? I have no problem with that. You banned what's it called? Pete Rose?
Yeah. Making phone calls from the dugout, supposedly to other teams to find out what was going on with their lineup.
So if you're cheating,
what was the plan for their bullpen for the night?
You're cheating for signals, and you're
the fact that he used the video,
the
video room, right down the hall, whatever, blah, and that's
you're altering games. You know what I mean? Because it's a huge advantage. Like I said yesterday, you and I can know what pitch is coming, and it's not going to help us. Okay, they can tell us, hey, a breaking ball is coming on the outside, and we're still going to miss. Okay, but a Major League Baseball player,
it's like putting it up on a tee, man.
You tell them what pitch is coming, it's over, dude. Those guys are at another level. You know, so I have no problem. And when the Cora thing comes down, I have no problem banning him from football. All right, so we'll figure out that trade for you because I think it was a whole bunch of terrific players in that trade. The other thing that we got to talk about, I didn't really talk too much about it yesterday. In fact, we left it alone, which was the Antonio Brown video that came out yesterday. And it's sad, demented in so many different directions. And when people say somebody needs to grab Antonio Brown and reach out to him. Let me explain something to you guys out there. There is nobody. Clearly, in that man's world, he doesn't have anybody close to him that actually loves him, that actually cares for him. Because that's what happens in all of our lives. If we have some kind of an issue, emotionally, physically, whatever it is, financially, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a boyfriend, you have a girlfriend, you have a father, a brother, a mother, an aunt, an uncle, best friend. You have people around you that, gravitate around you, that know you, that care for you, and they see what you're going through, and they want to help you. Antonio Brown only has hanger-ons. He has people that he has to pay in order for them to be around him. They do what he says. So whatever he's saying is what they're going to agree with, what they're going to egg on, what they're going to support. The hanger-ons after that video are like, yeah, man, F that police and F her and this, that. And you're right, Antonio. Nobody has the guts to grab him because they don't love him, because they don't care about him, and actually tell him what's going on in his life and how wrong he is and how misled he is and how it looks on him. I'm sure the agent that he fired tried. I'm sure some people have tried, but there obviously isn't anybody that he is really connected to, that he loves and they love him, and he will listen because he is beyond listening. When you are putting that video out yourself and you don't have the self-awareness of what you're doing and the problems you're creating for yourself and the image that you're setting out there to everybody else, it shows you that the level of ignorance and also the mental instability that he must have. Because let's not dance around this. The dude is crazy. Something's wrong with him. That elevator is not going to the top floor. Okay? And like I told you, he doesn't have anybody out there that really wants to help him. And that's really what the end result is of what we're seeing with Antonio Brown. It's sad, but it's the truth. And if he had somebody that can grab him by the neck and say, hey, man, you need to stop doing this. This is making you look bad. And then it's somebody that he would respect in return, he could possibly change his life and go in another direction. But you see him on social media every other day. There's some kind of post or incident or something with him involved. And let me tell you something. Here's where this situation gets even more disturbing. The fact that the NFL has not banned him completely from the league. And they waited until they were embarrassed that the Saints brought him in for a workout. When at that point, Antonio Brown is so unstable that you should not be bringing him into any team whatsoever. And the NFL should have banned him right from the get-go and say, hey, he's being investigated. Don't even bother to bring him in because you're not going to have an opportunity to sign him whatsoever. He cannot be in our league. And how that wasn't already approached, and you had to wait till the incident with the Saints. And this is why you become an enabler, because the NFL environment has actually assisted him in this behavior. Because what they did in Pittsburgh, while it's amazing that Mike Tomlin was able to hide all of this, you're also enabling because you're not punishing. There's a story about Mike Brown that Marvin Lewis wanted to discipline people like Burfset. But Mike Brown would say, no, no, no. And he would lay off the discipline. And so you wonder why all the mistakes and all the knuckleheads that have been brought to that team and how those knuckleheads have done stupid things in the middle of games and have cost the Bengals games. And then you wonder why, and it's because of that owner. And these are the things that you, as a league, they have to understand that if you're not punishing players for beating women, you are enabling them. Just like what you've done with Antonio Brown. For years, Pittsburgh was probably sweeping it under the rug, but what you're doing is enabling it because you're allowing him to get away with it by hiding it, by masking it. Nobody learns that way. It's near impossible. And now you're at a point of no return with Antonio Brown because his level of ignorance is so disturbing that he posted that video yesterday. And in his eyes, in his mind, he thinks he's going to gain some understanding and sympathy from that video, which is baffling to think that. But that's Antonio Brown. And that shows you how mentally unstable he is at this point in time. And the fact that the Saints would even think about bringing him in, it's disturbing. And it also shows that the NFL still doesn't get it in certain times with certain players, that you've got to part ways no matter how talented they are, because they are a detriment to your business. And in Antonio Brown's case, he's not only a detriment to your team, he's a detriment to your community. Because if you bring him into your community, there's a good chance he might be assaulting somebody in your community. And you're the one that brought him in. So that's why this thing is disturbing at all levels. And we create Antonio Brown as a society. We create it by doing it in high school and doing their tests and getting tutors and covering up the days they skip or miss class. Then they move on to college and they do the same kind of things academically, and we cover up for them. And then they have a DUI, and the little town police covers up for that, and everything else. And then you keep enabling. And as they keep moving up in life, they keep figuring out, I can get away with it because you're going to cover it up for me because I am above the law. And then it keeps building and building and building. And then it gets to a point where certain guys are what they are. And what you saw from Antonio Brown yesterday, wow. I mean, that is a man that is completely out of touch with what he is supposed to be. And if the way he's treating that woman in front of everybody and in front of his kids, and the way he's talking to the cops, shows you that he doesn't get it, man. Just doesn't get it.
What we've seen and where he's at, do you really think that if somebody in his inner circle, whatever, came up to him and said, hey, man, you're really too far out there. You're just compounding. You're making it
There
worse.
is nobody.
There is, like, don't you think that Antonio would be like, who the hell are you? You know, just the way he is.
Yeah.
He would, like,
he's too ignorant.
You're out of here.
Right.
You're done. I'm done with you.
Right. He's too ignorant. I mean, he's just.
So basically, it's going to take. Like, he's going to have to totally bottom out.
Yeah.
Some horrible, unfortunately, thing is going to have to happen.
I was told
right?
2 stories yesterday about AB. I can't repeat them, but, I mean, there were things that were like, wow. You know, it
just keeps mounting and mounting. It just gets bigger and bigger.
There's a whole bunch of things behind the scenes. There's all kinds of things that happen.
You're like usual, like an iceberg. What you see on the surface, man, it's nothing.
Nothing. It's just the tip. And he's got so much more that it's really disturbing. Let me tell you about Caneswear, because Brett and all the amazing people at Caneswear, they've been at this a long, long time, man, like a decade now when they started in that warehouse. And now they are at 2511 South University Drive in Davie. What a big, beautiful store. They've got everything Canes, man. Anything and everything with a Canes logo on it, you can get it there. Autographed items. They've got Miami Dolphins. They've got Miami Marlins, Florida Panthers, all right, Miami Heat, and even Inter Miami. They've got the T-shirts next month when the jerseys come out. You can get them at Caneswear. They'll have both styles of jerseys, or kits, as we like to call them in soccer, and you can purchase it there at, of course, Caneswear. 2511 South University Drive in Davie. Remember, when you order over $99 online, you will get free shipping. Caneswear Miami Fanwear, that's the spot where fans like me shop. Welcome back to the beautiful Trade Winds Resort, headquarters for the East-West Shrine game. Michael Walker, the linebacker for Fresno State, is going to join us now. We're going to talk a little East-West Shrine. Michael, how you feeling, baby?
Man, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling blessed to be out here.
Yeah, man. You got to feel good being out here at the East-West Shrine game. How was your first day? How's that adjustment when you haven't played with a whole bunch of people ever? You don't even know these cats.
Man, I mean, it's great. I mean, I think it just takes on football, Everything about football is being able to communicate. So being able to communicate with all these new guys, new schemes and stuff like that, I mean, it's wonderful to be out here to run around with these guys. So these are the top guys in the country. So, I mean, I love it.
Michael, when you're out here, what are you trying to prove? Obviously, you want to prove that you belong, but whatever knocks they've told you that you have, what are they that you're working on that you want to prove to them that you are not that?
I just want to show all 32 teams I can play any scheme, and I can play any linebacker position they want me to play. I'm versatile. Be out here and show I can play with the big guys. So, sometimes they say that our conference isn't the best conference. So being out here with these big conferences guys and these big-time names, just being out here and do my thing. So
yeah, well, your agent and I were actually talking about that last night. Do they play real football in that conference?
Yeah, man, we got some dogs. Man. We got some dogs in our conference for sure. And, I mean, we got some guys here representing. So, I mean, we're here representing the West Coast and the Mountain West.
No, I know. It's always good to have some fun with that. When you hear that those kind of conferences, even Pac-12, that it's more finesse and not physical enough, like the SEC and those kind of things. How do you guys react out west to that kind of stuff?
Man, I mean, we get that a lot, so it's one of those things we just throw in the back of our mind, man. We know what we do on the West Coast, so, I mean, for us, it's just about going out here and proving everybody wrong. We not even proving everybody wrong to say, but just putting ourselves right. We know what kind of brand of football we play. We play fast, physical football, so if they can't keep up with us, not our fault. We're finessing.
Right. I love it. All right, so tell me a little bit about the experience this week getting NFL coaching. What's the difference for you compared to what you're used to at Fresno State?
I mean, the big thing that my agent talked to me about was just being able to – I mean, this is kind of what I do, So coming from high school to college, you never seen those college coaches before. So now coming from college to NFL, you've never seen those coaches before. So kind of being able to just know that, this is a job now. So you have to be able to get all those nerves out and take take into consideration that this is what you do, So getting all this coaching from them is great, because this is the elite of the elite. So I mean, but just trying not to make the moment too big and just be able to take the coaching staff just like how I would do at Fresno State.
How's the interview process gone? What any funky questions?
No, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, most of the questions are exactly the same. They want to make sure you didn't do nothing wrong and stuff like that. So, I mean, I love the questions whenever I can get on the board and show them what my football IQ is. I mean, that's the best thing for me. So, I think it's long. There's a lot of them, but I think it's a blessing to be able to have all these teams come up and talk to you.
And and so you're getting tested in questions at different positions, right? Is that something? So is that a smooth transition for you? Do you feel like you're comfortable in all of them?
Yeah, man. I feel like I believe I could play any position on the field. So especially any linebacker position, inside, outside, being able to demonstrate that out here and being able to play at a high level. I mean, that's my thing right there. So
can you get to the quarterback?
Yes, sir.
All right, no, because, the Dolphins need an outside linebacker that's kind of like a werewolf that can get to a quarterback, Can you fill that need, Michael?
Man, 100%, man. I'm here to fill any need. Any team they're calling, I'm there.
What'd you grow up as? What was your favorite NFL team?
My mom grew me up as a San Francisco 49er in Candlestick Park.
Wow. All right. So your boys are still alive, man. They might be in the Super Bowl. They're only one win away from being in the Super Bowl. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, for me now, growing up and being in this platform here, no bias. I don't really have an NFL team, but I know.
Oh, your agent got to you. Damn it, your agent got to you.
Yeah, I don't have no NFL team, but my mom's blowing up the family group chat, going crazy about the 49ers. So we get that a lot in the group chat.
Agent to Michael. All right, listen, while you're going through this process, I don't want you to say any team's your favorite, okay? You love all 32 because all 32 have got checks. All right, so your agent asked me to bother you about your Odell Beckham haircut. All right? That's how he called it, too, by the way.
Oh, wow.
All right, so what's up with the – now, is it because blondes have more fun? Is it because women love blondes? What made you dye your hair blonde?
Okay, so first I see my agent got some jokes. But,
Yes.
I mean, I did this my sophomore year of high school, and it wasn't because of Odell Beckham.
And by the way, his ass was falling asleep like at 9:30 last night. Like, all right, man, I'm out of gas. I got to go to the room already. So you can start picking on his old ass that he needs coffee by 9:30 because he wants to sleep already. Okay, so there you go. There's some material for you, but go ahead.
That's funny, man. Yeah, so my hair kind of came from the Honey Badger, the original.
Yeah.
Tyrann Matthews. That was my, growing up where we came from. I mean, that was our idol out there. I mean, watching him play the game of football was just electrifying, and that's kind of how I feel. I mean, the guy was a punt returner. He just played every spot on defense, and that's kind of what I try to do. I'm obviously not going to be out there catching punts, but just being able to play all different linebacker spots and be versatile like him, because I mean, if he could do it, that's what I want to do. So that's kind of where the hair came from. I actually did it in basketball season though, so it wasn't really for that, but it kind of just carried through with football.
But you're also a basketball guy, right? Basketball, track, and all that stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so isn't that kind of weird nowadays? Because like when we grew up, we used to play multiple sports. Now kids kind of focus on one, and they do that all year round. It's so you're kind of a weirdo in your time, right? Because you're moving around from different sports, right? It's not normal.
I think I just beat the cut. I mean, now you see these basketball players doing 360 dunks in the games, in high school games. So, I mean, they're getting trained 24/7 all year long, 365 days. So, I mean, you can definitely see your basketball players. That's their sport. You can tell. You can identify a basketball player.
Michael Walker, of course, from Fresno State, linebacker. You can see him on Saturday here at the East-West Shrine game. So, Michael, how did the women react to the blonde hair? That's what I want to know. I got to live vicariously. I'm boring. I've been married for 25 years, same woman for 31. So I got to ask you about, I don't even remember what it was like to be single anymore. So you tell me.
My girlfriend loves it.
Oh! Okay. How long have you had that girlfriend?
Close to 2 years.
Wow. That's serious.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wow. Football player, star football player, 2 years, girlfriend, and college. Wow. That's amazing. She's got to be a keeper then.
Yeah, she's definitely a keeper.
Okay. I like it. What's she studying?
She does sociology.
Okay.
Yep.
What's your major?
Criminal justice.
Really?
Criminal justice, same thing.
So let's say, look, I hope you're a star and you get in the Hall of Fame, okay? Let's just say that. But if you're not doing football, talk to me a little bit, Michael. What do you want to do with that?
Well, actually, I want to do real estate, so I kind of got you.
Wait a minute, you sure you're not a baseball player? You just threw me a curve, bro.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I kind of got second semester my junior year. Figured out, man, I kind of want to just go over to real estate instead. It's too late to make the switch. So I just figured, I mean, they always tell you as long as you have a degree, you can do whatever.
So why do you love real estate?
I mean, I just feel like having a platform, being an NFL football player, and all this connection I'm going to make in the league, it's going to really help me out, just boost my business and help me out. I mean, I'm going to learn from all these guys who do it, That stereotypical professional athlete is a realtor, so.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And listen, you'll probably be dealing in big properties.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Exactly. It's not like you want to be selling, $35,000 trailers. So I get what you're saying. Okay. All right. That makes a lot of sense. Michael. All right. Talk to me a little bit about Fresno State, man. What kind of a university is it? Because we see it in like, sports and all that, but personally, that experience, talk to us a little bit about Fresno State.
Man, I love Fresno State. I mean, it's one of those situations where they always say there's nothing in Fresno but football. So, I mean, we're the hometown team. Our fans come out. They're there to support us. When we won the Mountain West Championship game, I think we came back to the facility at 3:30 in the morning, and all our fans were outside waiting for us, cheering us on. It was cold. I mean, it was nasty outside, and our fans were out there, asked for autographs, taking pictures, made us feel like celebrities. So, I mean, I love Fresno State. I love the fans. I mean, I think we got some of the best fans in the world. So I mean, they're there to support us when Fresno State won 1-11 and when we went 12-2. I mean, so.
All right, so let me ask who's the guy that you just got to know and you say, all right, this guy's cool, we're friends.
I mean, all these guys are really cool. I mean,
but give me one. There's got to be one guy you've gravitated to, like, hey man, cool dude, never met him.
Yeah, Cam Gill, you know, he's on the East team. We both play the same position, so he's a really cool guy.
Okay, what made you think that or say that he's a cool guy? What give me an example.
I mean, we just sat down the first night of dinner. We sat down on the same table and we're all talking it up, chatting it up, where he came from. He told me he went to a small school called Wagner. I went to a small school to the Pacific before transferring to Fresno State. So, seen his hustle. He's here today, so doing something right.
All right, so this show originating out of South Florida. Have you talked to the Dolphins because they do need linebackers? So I'm just wondering.
Yes, I have.
You have.
Yes, I have.
Okay. All right. How did that? I know you're not going to tell me specifically about that interview, but how did it go?
I mean, it was a great conversation. You know, I mean, all these teams have done a great job asking us, you know, really important questions and stuff. I mean, just being able to demonstrate your football IQ on the board work, but they also want to get to know you as a person. So each of these interviews, especially with the Dolphins, was a really good one.
Michael Walker, and it's spelled Mykal, a really cool way of spelling. Don't you like that when parents like go to the extreme of like, okay, I'm going to name you a name that's very popular, but we're going to spell it differently. Like my daughter's name is Caitlin. How do you spell Caitlin?
I mean, there's so many different ways to spell it.
Right, with a C and with a K in different ways. I spelled it with Kaytlin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's new. That's not real.
See?
I like that.
So that I did the same thing your parents did. Yeah. So did they tell you, by the way, what was the other name they had planned for you, but Michael won out?
So I got a twin brother. So we had the same letters in our name. Just move them around to say Malik and Michael. But our names were going to be Melvin or Mason. Melvin and Mason.
Melvin,
yeah.
Melvin,
they didn't tell us which one.
Like you're born and they name you Melvin, and it's like, are you 52 already or something? Or all right, Melvin's not really like you can't go through youth with the name Melvin.
Yeah, I'm glad they chose Malik and Michael.
Yeah, Malik is cool. Michael's cool. Melvin, yeah, they chose the right one, Mike. Yeah. They chose the right one. Hey, thank you for taking some time. We really appreciate it. Best of luck, my brother, and who knows? You might be a Miami Dolphin down the line.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me.
You got it, Michael. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. There you go, man. Michael Walker from Fresno State. Appreciate that. Before we do anything else, let me tell you a little bit about Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines, the finest dealership in the business. There is no better Acura dealership out there right now. 2020 models. The ILX is 209, the TLX 239, RDX 339, MDX 349, only $29.99 to it signing, plus tax tag and registration, folks. And you got to tell them also to check out the fleet of certified pre-owned vehicles. And if you own or lease an Acura, go over the service center. Mike Chen and Jordan Ferber are the best at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. We're going to switch gears. We go from linebacker to quarterback. Kevin Davidson, of course, from Princeton, joining us here at the East-West Shrine game. We talked a little bit about his practices. Who you rooming with?
I'm actually rooming with, so there's 6 people, and it's 3 different rooms combined into one. So I'm rooming with Tommy Townsend, punter from Florida, but both the other quarterbacks are right next door to us. Okay, so James is from our part. We're in South Florida. Yes, sir. So does he snore, or what's the deal? Does he? So far, so good. Yeah, no issues. Snoring out of all. Nobody snores. No, not yet. Okay, that's a pain in the ass. Oh yeah. You know what I mean? You got meetings, you got practices. You can't have a teammate that snores. No, you got to get your 6 hours and wake up and get to work. So in Princeton, who was the guy that just made hell that you had to put him in a room by himself because he snored too much? Yeah, I mean, I roomed with a kid last year named Ryan Quigley, and it was brutal. So this year I got a single, and my sleep's just taken off from there. I had a grandmother. She snored so badly, the walls would tremble. Okay? Wow. Seriously, I mean, it was just like this, and your body would start shaking. Yeah, like really, when you can hear it through walls,
That's scary.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's scary.
Stay away from that.
Yeah, I noticed that there were no roaches, no ants, no nothing anywhere around our house ever while she was snoring. Okay, that's I tell you that's pretty impressive. All right, so which is the receiver you're developing pretty good chemistry with? I know they're all good. I get that. Okay, don't give me the company line now.
Yeah.
Give me the guy that's really jived with you so far in the first 2 days.
Kid from Florida State.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaiah Wright from Temple.
That's you hit him for a touchdown.
Yes. Yeah.
Yesterday. What's it called? I thought he's played well. Keith Gavin.
Yep.
Keith Gavin. Yeah, he's played well, man.
Yes, he's taken off. He's a big body, but also has that speed to take it over the top and separate.
It's deceptive.
Absolutely.
For a big guy. And by the way, that's also one of the things that I've noticed in this game. There's a lot of tall receivers.
Oh, yeah. Especially on the West team. You see those guys from Oklahoma State and Oregon?
They're like redwood trees,
Literally,
man.
yeah. I feel bad for those DBs.
Yeah, but how about you? You love that. You love those guys with range.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
If you're off a little bit, like
they'll still get it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
And the kid from Rhode Island too. I think Aaron Parker.
Yes, you're Parker. I like him.
He's stuck out pretty well.
I like him, man. The Parker kid. I don't watch a lot of Rhode Island games on television, and when I saw him, I'm like, whoa, that's definitely one. Let me ask you, as a Princeton guy, okay, do people get intimidated because we're dealing with a smart guy or something like that? How do they treat you, right? Because I almost feel like when we walk up to kids from Yale, Harvard, and Princeton or something like that, we're like careful because we know we're dumber than they are.
No, it's not like that. It's been fun. It's been a total team environment, and I'm bonding really well with these guys. And it's been a really, really fun week so far.
What's for the quarterback, the challenge of getting people's attention and believing in you, because that's always the battle. In such a short amount of time, how do you do that in this kind of an environment?
Yeah, that's why I got the roster last week from our kind of personnel guy and started just talking with the receivers right away, and actually started building great relationships with them. Got on the phone, started talking about our playbook. So just like trying to get ahead of the game and starting to build friendships with these guys has been really helpful so far.
Where did you learn that you had to be the guy? Because I don't know if every quarterback, and especially young quarterbacks, understand how important it is to kind of connect.
Absolutely. So in high school, I ended up transferring from my high school in Danville, California, to a high school in Oakland, California, so a completely new environment. It was coached by Marcus Peters' father.
Oh, yeah.
And Marshawn Lynch and Josh Johnson, guys like that, were around all summer for training with us. So like total new environment, and I just had to dive in and start building bonds with these guys, and that's where I think I learned it, and it was just an unbelievable opportunity to be around some great football players and really learned a lot from them.
How far apart are those schools?
About 45 minutes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So that's like another county, is that what it was?
Exactly.
Okay, all right, that's
good. I
good.
went there to maximize my football opportunities, and it was, we were good.
Okay. That is one thing that's changed about today's, and I don't blame players, because back in, I'm old. So back in the day, you just went to one school and no matter what it was, and you didn't really have as many opportunities of you would have to do something fishy in order to transfer. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, I like this because it gives the player a little bit more power and the parents a little bit more power to give you the best opportunity to succeed, because unfortunately all programs are not the same.
Yeah, well, we actually ran into a little bit of trouble with the transfer. If you want to get into that. So basically, played in 4 games, threw for 21 touchdowns, and every team that we played thought they would beat us, and we just absolutely smacked them. So they started to complain that I was there. It was an inner city school, and what happened was the state of California put 8 private investigators on my family to make sure that our move was legit. And it was, and then they ended up deeming me ineligible for a year based on an athletically motivated transfer. So we took it to court and tried to fight it because it was like not in the rule book, but the court upheld with the state of California, and I was suspended for 1 calendar year and forced to go back to my old high school in Danville. So that hurt recruiting a lot, but I'm couldn't be happier to end up at Princeton. And
so wait a minute, you went back to Danville and you stayed at Danville?
Correct, for my senior year.
For your senior year.
It was a 1-year calendar suspension, so it was October to October, so I only got to play 6 games my senior year because of the 4 my junior year, and then the 6 on the back end of that suspension. So pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, Yeah, state of California did not want me at that school.
Okay, so walk me through this, doggy. How did they accept you back? Like, were they pissed that they kind of had to take you back, or
no? I mean,
how was that whole? Because you left them for somebody. That's like leaving a girl for another girl, but then you want to go back to that girl, and she's not going to be that happy.
Yeah, I mean, they were my best friends that I grew up with since childhood, and they understood why I left. It was just to pursue football at like a new level,
right?
And be under some great mentors and coaches, and they really respected that decision. And then when I came back, I mean, they welcomed me with open arms. I always had great relationships with that. It wasn't like I didn't burn the bridge when I left, so that was a key situation.
Okay, all right, that's cool. That's and smart again on your part for doing that. That's fantastic, man. Wow, that's a great story. How about the personal hell that you were going through? Walk me through that. How dark was that you didn't have what you loved for a year, man? That's you might have even been thinking my career's over almost.
Absolutely.
So talk to me about that.
Yeah, it really hurt recruiting. All the schools, I was talking to Stanford before this, and then when I got suspended, what was really tough was the last game I played, the fourth game my junior year, I threw for like 450 yards and 6 touchdowns like in the first half. So it was just like totally taking off against a pretty good team who we were predicted to lose against, that week. And so that was tough because I was getting recruited by Stanford pretty heavily, and then once I got suspended, they ended up going with a kid from Southern California instead. So I mean, it was tough. Football was my only love, and I mean, still is. I love the game, and for that to be taken away from something out of my control, not even an injury or something like that, was really hard. Absolutely.
Wow, that's a fantastic story, and I would imagine, how much have you learned about patience and kind of, trying to, be able to be patient and disciplined to stay with it all the way through?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're at like a crossroads like that, you have two decisions. Like, one's to kind of give up and give in, or to push harder and find like new levels within yourself. So I think that's like the choice I went with, and it grew a lot as a person, and then ended up got the opportunity to go to like one of the Elite 11 regional camps and won the MVP there over some big SEC guys and all of that. And then
what SEC guys?
Jacob Eason was there as well.
Okay, all right.
But it taught me patience, absolutely, like you said, because even at Princeton, I was behind 2 guys who ended up, they're in the NFL now, and I didn't get to start until my senior year. So once again, I was at a crossroads where I had to, choose to work harder rather than just kind of give up and give in to the whole college scene and whatever that entails.
Wow, that's a phenomenal story, Kevin, man. Kevin Davidson, by the way, from Princeton, joining us. All right, Kevin, so what convinces you that you can play at the next level?
Just being around so many pro guys. When I would train down in Southern California in high school and, my early years at college, and just throwing around guys like Matt Ryan and obviously being mentored by Josh Johnson. We would throw all the time with Marshawn. Just being around everyone, it's like something I feel like I fit in well. And now at Princeton, I don't graduate till June, so I'm doing all my training in New Jersey, up in North Jersey, and Phil Simms and Matt Simms are now my quarterback coaches. So being around them has been just an absolute joy, and I'm really thankful for their mentorship.
Did you have Skittles galore when you were hanging around Lynch?
Oh yeah. Okay. He always had him around, and he actually, he's a crazy dude, but just like the best guy ever. Hates the press, but just the absolute like ideal human. So humble, and wants the best for everyone around him.
Yeah, he does look like a cool dude.
Oh yeah.
He controls the press because he doesn't want anybody to get from the press to get close to him.
Actually, I mean, when they lost, he just gave out some nice feedback that pretty much went viral. So once he starts talking, people listen, which is valuable.
Because it's so rare that he talks.
Exactly right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things. What has Phil taught you now that when, being taught by Phil, give me something that you've learned from him?
Just how to be a professional. I mean, he's taught me kind of how this process is going to go. You got to be patient. You got to, fight your own battles, and learn from everyone you talk to. And he really kind of taught me what these interviews are going to entail and how these practices are going to go. And at the end of the day, he's just any question I have, I talk to him, and he really mentored me throughout the season, and kept me excited to keep pushing.
All right, Kevin, we'll wrap it up with this. Kevin Davidson from Princeton, quarterback, joining us here on the program. what are you trying to prove to people out here that whatever knock you have right now, that it's not true?
I think just being a one-year starter at a small school like Princeton, that I can play at this level. I think I have the arm to, with the best of them in the NFL, and I can definitely hang at this level and distribute the ball everywhere on the field and kind of absorb a playbook really quickly.
So the one-year wonder thing does scare people. Yeah. I mean, even Joe Burrow is going to get a little bit of that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I think, Kyler Murray and those kind of things, all these kind of because one-year wonders are, that they're not very successful as the transition. There's very few. It's like outside of Jason Pierre-Paul, there aren't a lot of guys that are one-year wonders at any position. So it's how do you find that challenge for you in trying to convince people?
Yeah, I think just continuing to have a chip on my shoulder throughout high school, like with dealing with my, academic or whatever suspension for transferring. Continuing to have a chip on my shoulder. I was behind two guys who ended up in the pros, so it was kind of out of my control in a sense. But I think it prepares me well for the next level because you're not going to go in and start right away somewhere, most likely. So being able to be ready for your moment when it's, when your number's called and prepare like you're the guy every week, that's something I really took pride in college. And I started one game my junior year, and I was told on that Thursday that I was going to be the starter for the game Saturday. And I didn't really change anything because I always prepared like I was the guy, and went and threw for 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards. So I think it's going to transfer well to the next level.
I don't know you at all, but I almost get the feeling that there's no doubt you're a confident guy, but you have a quiet swag. You're not really the brash guy out in public, but deep down inside, you kind of know you're better than the guy that's next to you or above you or something along those lines. Am I reading you right?
I believe so. I don't think you don't need to talk that much. I think actions speak louder than words, and I think once people start to know me, that's something that they get from me.
Kevin Davidson, quarterback from Princeton, joining us here at the East-West Shrine game. Kevin, very impressive, my man. I've really enjoyed your work so far the last couple of days. Continue to kick ass, and hope you make your dreams come alive, my man.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.